Today's lesson is an introduction to integers, and this will cover page 134. An integer is a whole number, which means that there is no decimal place in it. All of the place values come before the decimal, and it can be either positive or negative, or in the case of 0, neutral. Now, the numbers that we write without a symbol in front are actually wearing a little invisibility cloak that covers their plus sign. So if you would just write a number normally as 1, 2, 3, or 4, you could also write it as +1, +2, +3, and +4. Positive numbers are kind of our defaults. You can show these numbers on a number line, so you'll notice that 0 is in the middle. When we move to the right, it's like the regular number line that we've been used to using in the past. If you move to the left, it's almost like a mirror image. So just like we go up 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, we go down 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, but they're negative numbers. So the further to the right a number is, the larger it is, and if a number is further to the left, it is smaller or less than. So this can help you when you're comparing numbers. Bigger to the right, smaller to the left. So don't get tripped up by thinking -8 must be bigger than -3 because 8 is bigger than 3. It's actually that you're owing more, so you would have less. The first question is going to ask you to write 3 integers that are less than 0. So remember, if we are looking for something that is less than, it needs to be on the number line to the left of 0. So you'll find 0 and something to the left, which means they will all actually have to start with negatives. Number 2 is going to ask you to circle the integers that are positive. To tell if a number is positive, you are looking for a number that has a plus sign in front of it or has no sign in front of it. Basically, you should be circling every number unless it has a negative sign. Question 3 is going to ask you to circle the least integer in each pair. So they will give you 2 numbers. And so if you look at both numbers on a number line, the least number or the smallest number is the one that is farthest to the left. Question 4 is going to ask you to write less than or greater than in each box. So remember, when we're making our little Pac-Man face, it always wants to eat the bigger number. So if we look at these 2 numbers, +3 and +8, and we look at our number line, 8 is farther to the right, so it is the bigger number. So when I draw my symbol, it's going to open to the 8 as if it's going to eat the bigger number. Question 5 is going to ask you to write 2 integers between -8 and -3. If you're unsure, make sure to look at the number line at the top of your page. See where -8 is and where -3 is, and choose numbers that are in between them. For question 6, they're going to give you a number line that is incomplete, so they'll have 0, 8, and 8 and -8 marked. And they're going to ask you to mark each integer, so these are the integers they're talking about, on the number line with an X and then label it with the correct letter. So we're going to start with A is +5. So I'm going to start filling in my number line. So I'll start at 0 and then each tick is worth 1. So I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now that I'm here, I'm going to put an X where 5 is, and above it write the letter A. So that's what they mean by mark it with an X and label it with the correct letter. Now B, I need to go to the negative side. So this is negative on the left and positive on the right. So I'll go -1, -2, -3, -4. Okay, that is my B value. C is -3. Well, I already have that written here, so I'll put an X and mark that. D is +7. I have only gone to +5, so I need to keep going. +6, +7. So here is D. And E is minus 6. I'm only at minus 4, so minus 5, minus 6, and that would be E. So you'll have different numbers, but you're doing the same steps. Question 7 will give you 5 numbers or 5 integers and asks you to place them in the boxes in increasing order. So increasing means we're going from the smallest to the largest number. So to find the smallest number, we're going to start by looking at our negative numbers because those are the furthest left on the number line. And then we have to go, okay, what's kind of sounds weird, but if you think of smallest as the most small, what's the biggest negative I have? Or what's for the biggest numeral? So if I look at 9, it's going to be much farther left than the other negative numbers. So I would start with negative 9, and then 4 is bigger than 2, so negative 4 is less than negative 2. Then I have my negative 2, and now I have my 2 positive numbers. So it's just like normal numbers, right? 7 is smaller than 11, so it will go first. Question number 8 asks you to put the temperatures in the boxes in order from hottest to coldest. So remember, if there is no sign in front, then those are positive temperatures. And if we think of our hot days in the summer, we're in the positives, and our cold days in the winter, like when we had minus 40 something this year, those are in the negatives. So those are the coldest ones. So we're looking at positives and negatives. So we're starting with our hottest day. So our biggest positive number. So we've got 15 and 28 is bigger. So we'll put that in the first box, 28 degrees Celsius. Then we're left with 15 degrees Celsius as our other positive number. Now we have to think of what would be further up and down on a thermometer, right? So we've got 28 degrees, 15 degrees, we'd have 0 in the middle, and then it's going to start going down, right? Minus 2 is not that cold. Minus 40 is very cold. So first on this line we would get to 16 and then 17, and then way at the bottom we would have 42. So we'll do them in that order as well. So negative 16 degrees Celsius, negative 17 degrees Celsius, and negative 42 degrees Celsius. So you notice it's like a 0 in the middle and the numbers go up on either side, right? 16, 17, 42 if you go this way, and 15, 28 to the left. Our last question for this lesson is number 9, and it has 3 parts. So we're just going to start with part A. It says if O is less than J and J is less than K, mark possible places for J and K on the number line. So if we look here, O is less than J. That means that J needs to go to the right of O. So I'm just going to pick somewhere in here, and it doesn't matter, but I'm just going to mark it J, and maybe I'll make my J look a little bit nicer. Then J has to be to the right of O, but K has to be bigger than it as well, right? J is greater than 0, but less than K. So I'm just going to, maybe I'll go right at the end here. So they don't have to be evenly spaced. They can be anywhere on there. And we've marked possible places on the number line, okay? It doesn't matter how close they are. You could have like J and K right there. You could have J and K or J and K, as long as J is in the middle. So notice that the J's are in the middle and the K's are on the outside. It doesn't go JK, JK, right? It's always a mirror from the center out. Part C asks you to write the correct symbol, so either a less than or a greater than sign in each box. So if O or 0 is less than J and J is less than K, so that's the image that we drew here, then what about 0, is it less than or greater than negative j? So if we look at 0 and negative j, the bigger one, the one that's farther to the right, is 0. So that's the one that the Pac-Man should be eating. So when we draw our symbol, we'll make sure it's opening to the 0, so it's greater than. And now we're comparing negative j and negative k. So if we look at negative j and negative k, the furthest to the right is negative j, which means it's bigger. So once again, the mouth needs to open towards the bigger value. There will be a Google form attached to this assignment with a few questions. Remember to fill it out, submit, and mark as done. Remember to ask for help if you need it. I have intentionally only given you one lesson, which is one page today. Some of you, this will be super easy. It won't bother you. You'll fly through. You've got some extra time today. But this is sometimes a very confusing unit for people. So if you are a little bit confused, do not hesitate. Please ask me for help so we can go over it together, because I've got other ways of explaining how this works. If you need to ask for help, you can comment on FreshGrade or Google Classroom. You can make it a private comment. No one else can see it. You can email me. Whatever way you can get a hold of me, I am here to help.